You know that feeling when you're sitting at your desk just staring at your screen and it honestly feels like the room itself is somehow draining all the creativity right out of you? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating piece of writing by author and researcher Luyomi Oladavid. It's called Conducting Current in Open Air, and in it, she shares this totally relatable yet powerful realization about her own physical workspace and how it was actually hurting her ability to generate ideas. It got so bad, she literally had to escape her assigned desk just to get her brain working right. I mean, I think a lot of us have been there, right? But what's cool is she actually took the time to study why this happens and what we can do about it. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this, because her well-meaning colleagues were constantly asking her the exact same thing. They'd literally stop her in the middle of a busy street, park, or out in an open classroom and ask, why leave the comfort of a cozy cubicle? To them, she was abandoning this perfectly safe, climate-controlled bubble to go sit near a noisy intersection or a public bench. I mean, it probably looked a little crazy. If someone was just passing by in a rush, she'd just give them her signature smile. But if they actually wanted to know, she'd give them the brutal truth. Her supposedly comfortable office was basically hostile to get an actual work done. Section 1. The Cubicle Conundrum. Trapped air and trapped ideas. So when we look at the reality of these traditional offices she was so desperate to escape, her phrasing is just spot on. She identifies herself as an idea generator. That's her core function, right? But the environment she was given was, in her exact words, relatively poorly lit and poorly ventilated. Just think about how disconnected that is. We hire people to be creative, to solve complex problems, and to generate innovative ideas, and then we stick them in these dim boxes with stagnant air. As she rightly points out, a space like that is pretty much the exact opposite of what an idea generator actually needs to function. And honestly, it goes way beyond just being a little stuffy in there. She breaks down exactly what builds up in these enclosed spaces. Because it's not just the people that get trapped in the cubicle, it is literally everything they produce. You've got this recycled air just being endlessly pushed around by the AC units. You've got a constant mix of scents and odors, maybe someone's heavy perfume or yesterday's microwaved lunch. And then crucially, there's the noise and the chatter. All of these sensory inputs get trapped. They just bounce off those low ceilings and fabric walls, creating this constant low-level cognitive load that makes focus practically impossible. Just to show how wild this gets, she shares this unbelievable anecdote about a research assistant she knew. This person worked in a similar enclosed space and obviously needed the utmost concentration. So what did they do? They had to resort to extreme coping mechanisms. We're talking bringing in earplugs to block out the trapped noise and chatter, and physically locking their office door to stop the incessant interruptions. When your employees are barricading themselves in and plugging their ears just to do their jobs, yeah, your workspace design has clearly failed them. Section 2. Escaping to open air. Finding fresh stimulants. Since locking herself in a room just wasn't her style, she found a completely different solution. And this brilliantly illustrates the night and day difference she experienced. On the one hand, you have the trapped cubicle with its recycled air, distracting noise, and terrible lighting. But on the other hand, you have her solution, the free-flowing open square. When she moved her workout to open classrooms or street park seats, she found an environment completely free of those overwhelming trapped emissions. Instead, she got fresh stimulants. She got natural daylight, which pairs so perfectly with artificial light bulbs, by the way. And overall, she explicitly describes the atmosphere as much healthier for consumption and significantly stress-reducing. So the whole experience really boils down to this one perfect realization she had. She wrote, "The openness of a workspace to air may supply fresh stimulants for creative thought and observation." That is the absolute key takeaway here. She wasn't just running away from a bad desk, She was actively hunting for the raw materials her brain craved. Getting out into the open air wasn't just a change of scenery, it was literal fuel for her creativity and her observational skills. Section 3. Indoor environmental quality, from anecdote to empirical research. But Oluyomi Oladavid is a researcher, so she didn't just stop at her own personal observations. As is her custom, she took these everyday experiences and dove straight into the empirical literature. And what she found was super validating. Her intense dislike for her cubicle wasn't just some personal quirk. It actually falls under this broadly observed, highly researched academic field called indoor environmental quality, or IEQ. Basically, it's the study of how the conditions inside a building, the air, the light, the acoustics, directly affect the human beings inside. Finding this literature gave her a real, formal framework to understand exactly why she, and honestly so many of us, were struggling so much.
Empowered by this new framework, she actually decided to conduct her own survey research among her peers. And her preliminary findings, completely fascinating. She found out she was absolutely not alone in this. A huge range of her coworkers were using all sorts of coping strategies to deal with the poor indoor environmental quality of their offices. Just like that assistant with the earplugs, people were out there silently fighting their workspaces every single day, just trying to be productive.
Section 4. Designing for the task. Rethinking the workspace. Armed with both her personal experience and her survey data, she proposes a much better way forward. She advocates for what we can call activity-based design. Her core argument here is that the actual nature of the work activities has to be paramount when designing a space. No more one-size-fits-all cubicles. Instead, she suggests a few specific things. Number 1, make meeting spaces open to the air to keep ideas flowing and people energized. Number 2, provide noise-proof glass enclosures specifically for when workers need deep, unbroken concentration. Number 3, ensure true accessibility to alternate environments, kind of like those open squares she loves. And finally, number 4, give employees the pure flexibility to seamlessly switch spaces depending on exactly what their task requires at any given moment. Oyomi Ola-David's journey from a stifling, trapped cubicle to literally conducting her current out in the open air is just such a powerful reminder. Our environment completely dictates our output. We absolutely cannot expect brilliant, free-flowing ideas to come out of a rigid, stagnant box. So I want to leave you with a question to ponder as you look around your own workspace today. Is your workspace truly designed for the tasks you need to accomplish, or is it just trapping your ideas? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this sparks a change in how you view your own creative environment.